y'all, it's your girl Cielo. Welcome back to my channel. I'm in a little bit of a hurry today. Today I'm going to be doing La Llorona for Makeup and Mythology Monday. If you're new here, make sure to go ahead and make sure to go ahead and hit that like button, comment below, subscribe, and share with your friends. Yeah, so I already did my color correcting. Is on this look. It's gonna be a fun look, and we're talking about La Llorona, the weeping woman in white that drowns children in the night. Then I'm kind of doing my interpretation of La Llorona. I'm not going to copy anyone in particular. I wouldn't mind use my blue hair because, well, I already have blue hair, and then also I just feel like La Llorona, the weeping woman's like sadness, so I just thought I'd go with that. So again, I'm using blue hair for sadness, and I'm gonna have a veil, and I have like a little like light green dress, like a little kind of peasant dress, in a black veil. Because I'm evil, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I guess maybe someone evil, like it's somewhat subjective, I think, this one, if she's evil or not, because like this man put her through a lot. I think most of us would probably lose our minds too if we had to deal with her husband. He just seems like the worst. He just seems like a total jerk. Like he's just gonna constantly leave her and the kids, and then just like leave her for like a richer woman or a whiter woman. Like, that's just whack AF. I want to leave him too. Well, not even leave him, but like just leave the earth. Because like back in them days, women couldn't like even get divorced for real, bro. Like this lady doesn't have that many options. This is like the 1500s story originally is set in during colonization. Right, so this story comes to us from Mexico, even though most countries have some sort of version of it. I know in Costa Rica, she's called La Llorona. I moved the wrong country. But I know it's like this, she's not the only version of the story. And there's like tons of versions of the story as well too. And I mean, people always say there's some evidence that this story predates colonization. That's from Aztec folklore. This Aztec goddess named Cielo, which means snake woman, and she's described as being a savage beast and evil omen who appeared in white and would walk the night weeping and wailing. Also known as an omen of war, and says before a conquest she got her children crying. But yeah, the basic story, if you don't know La Llorona, the weeping woman. So originally she was a beautiful woman named Maria who lived in a little village, but she was very poor because she was a peasant. Okay, but she was very poor, but very hot. Well, that's all stories go. Like, they're always like, oh yeah, baby, I'll marry me. I'll make you rich. Right, so Maria wasn't with it though. She was like, no, cause like rich and poor men alike were like,
hey Maria, let me get at you, girl. What it do, baby?
but she was
like, no, I'm good.
So until one day she meets this rich, famous traveling man whose name we don't know. Whose names we don't care to know because he seems like a total douche nozzle. Okay. And you know, they get married and have a couple of kids. A couple of boys whose names we also don't know. The person we really know is Maria. Okay. And so like life's going on. First they're all happy, you know. They have a little family together. You know, it's like life is the best. He's got a little family, but he has to constantly travel because he does some rich people stuff. You know, they always travel. I don't know what rich people do, but they have money to travel, so that's what he doing. But then while away, he like falls in love with some other woman or something along those lines. And then when he would come to visit, he wouldn't like talk to Maria. Like he would just talk to the boys, which I'm like, that's just abusive. That is passive aggressive as hell. I'm pretty sure he's a narcissist. That's why I don't like this guy. He's a narcissist. Calling it right now, he's a narcissist. And then he gets up there too. So anyways, You know, he just keeps coming by. He just really is ignoring her. And like, well, last time he comes by, he like announced that he has like a new wife that's more of his like social class. He's gonna go marry her instead, and just leaves Maria like high and dry with the 2 kids. And like, Maria is just so distraught. Like, homegirl is distraught. She is distraught. I mean, I would be too. Like, not in the 1500s. You leave me alone with 2 kids, bro. Like, that's fucked up. That is fucked up. So in her fit of like sad anger, rage, she's actually probably made depressive, honestly. I mean, I would be too, though. I don't know. I just feel like I can't blame her. So basically, what happens next is a wild part. Okay, so she is so distraught that she ends up tossing her 2 kids in the river, and they drown. And it takes her a minute to realize what she's done, like, because she was like on a manic depressive high. If you ever had a manic depressive episode, you know what I'm talking about. Like, manic depressive high is no joke. Okay, like, don't be, oof. It's just not a good time. But yeah, so she tosses them in the river. And this is part of one of the ways that the story starts to diverge in various tales. So some people say, oh, she realizes what she did, and then she just jumps in to kill herself too because she knows that she drowned her children. There's a version that says like, oh, she jumps in to save her children, but she's drowning just because the river was that strong. And then we also have the more common version is that she like jumps in the river to try and find her kids, but then she can't find them, and so she like stops eating and walks along the banks. At night searching for them, and she won't eat until she finds her kids. And then she slowly starts to like, and then she's like basically wasting away until she dies. And then she continues to continue to haunt the river trying to find her kids. And she cries at night, which is why they call her La Llorona. There are also 2 myths too, kind of, I guess, like part of like about her afterlife, because I mean, in one telling she's committing suicide and murder, so those are like definitely big no-nos in Christianity, like in the Christian faith. So a lot of people like are like, okay, so she can't go to heaven because she's crossed the line. So she's stuck to one of the earth looking for her kids in vain in like purgatory. Then with that version, like, why is she getting purgatory in lieu of just like going to hell? But I guess, I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it, I guess. Like, it's like, me personally, I wouldn't want to. I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess because you don't get rest in hell, though. That's the question. Like, what's better? Like, haunting the earth forever until it ends because of global warming? Or, like, just going to hell and burning for eternity and just, like, putting up with it? Like, I guess, what is worse? What is worse? But yeah, there's also a version 2. Because I guess the version a lot of people know is kind of her like crying, wasting away, and then she becomes a spirit that haunts the rivers, looking for kids to drown. But in that version, she does try to go to heaven, and then, you know, she gets all the way up there. However they do that spiritually, and however, I think Catholicism, as most people are in Latin America are Catholic. You have some couple other like minor religions like Islam there too, but like for the most part, it's Catholic. Anyways, so she gets to the pearly gates, and God's like,
hey, yo, where your kids at?
she's like, ooh,
I don't know.
and so she has to like, God's like,
Girl, you can't come in here till you find your kids.
and so she goes back to Earth to find her kids, but obviously, you know, she really can't find them because, you know, there are some versions saying that the kids already went to heaven, and so God's not searching in vain, which I'm like, that's messed up. God be kind of rude sometimes. But like, anyways. So she basically, because God said she can't go to heaven, she brings her kids back with her. She's going back to Earth to find her kids, and that's how we get the story of La Llorona, who searching for her kids day and night until she finds it, because she can't get into heaven without her kids. And this is just like a sad story. Just a sad, sad story. And of course, they made quite a few versions of this. I think there was a movie in 2019 called La Llorona. It was alright. It was alright. I don't know. I just always feel some kind of way when they have like more white people centered in like minority stories, but I mean, the actress who plays the mom is a good actress, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like, I just kind of get annoyed when they just constantly center white people in, like, I'm saying this is not from the Spanish. This is, like, more of an indigenous-based kind of tale. A lot of people have convoluted, or is that what it was? Like, conflated. It's a better word. Conflated both La Llorona y La Malinche. And so Malinche, she was the interpreter and concubine for one Señor Hernán Cortés. And if you know Hernán Cortés, you need to go back to school and go back to history, because he is the colonizer that started Mexico. We talked about the formation of Mexico. I'll link that one up here above me. It's about the formation of Mexico during the Independence Day video. Check that out if you don't know about Mexico. Now you know. That's the name of his name was Hernán Cortés. But yeah, so basically she was a translator for him, and like also like fell in love with him. And I guess there's a lot, again, because there's a lot of like oral history in any culture. So I guess it's kind of thought that she maybe was married to him, had some babies, but he left her for like a Spanish woman. Because that was a big problem, I guess, for the people who were coming to colonize the land. They weren't supposed to really marry people there. They did anyways. But then they'd be like, okay, but back home now I got a Spanish little shorty. Gotta leave you, girl. Gotta leave you, Pocahontas, and go back to Spain and have my little Spanish family, and then they wouldn't be devastated. But yeah, I mean, so I guess some people think that's kind of like her story. That she like, because the men only care about the kids. And it's just weird when they treat the women so badly. Like, why? Like, why are y'all like this? Like, I look really pale right now. But it's gonna look better once I do all the other stuff. I mean, I must look kind of pale. I'm dead. I was like that sometimes. Like, I'm dead, actually. I'm a living dead, so I'm looking crazy for a little bit. So I'm not gonna highlight. I'm just gonna like quickly contour to really get that dead look. So I'm gonna set it with like the setting powder that I use for like the contour, so I don't look pale as hell. Okay. Right, so there we go, there's that. This one, I don't know, this one has always struck my fancy. Like I heard about this story back when I was, I think, in middle school or like late elementary school. And it always just was fascinating to me. Now there are some who say, well, I mean, like one lady said, like, possibly because like this tale's kind of misogynistic when you think about it. Like, oh yeah, she lost the man so she killed her kids. Like, does that really happen in real life? Pull that up now, because I don't know how often that really like is, like how accurate that is. So I know for familicide, actually, white men over 30 are more likely to kill their whole family. Just throwing it out there. So it's like, how accurate is it? They're like, how do we know that this is just like the husband's account being like, oh yeah, she like, I don't know if she was gonna like, maybe she blackmailed him and like had some stuff on him, and she was in a like villa and he like threw her in the river, but then he like threw the kids in there too because they saw him kill her his mom, and then he just was people like, oh my gosh, Maria went crazy. Like, we'll never really know. It's like, really, what else can you say? It's a pretty messed up story. But yeah, that's one theory that like this is the husband's account, and he just trying to make Maria look bad. So I'm like, that could make sense. 'Cause, I mean, if she's dead, she can't vouch for herself to the people. So who's gonna say the guy's wrong? Like, you can't say he's wrong because we don't know, because homegirl's dead. Okay. But basically, because she drowned her children, she has to search the world looking for other children. So make sure you don't go out at night towards rivers, because Llorona's there and she's gonna come and snatch you up, because God said she needs kids to get into heaven. Which, I don't know, I just think it's an interesting like dynamic, especially when people think of this story. They think of it being like an indigenous woman with a Spanish man who's leaving her for someone with higher status, which I think that was never ever really confirmed if that was exactly like the case for this story. But I mean, yeah, it's interesting. So it's like, I guess, what else can a indigenous person, like, especially because we heard about the pinturas de casta, right? In that video below, up above, about how people who are whiter have more prestige in Latin America. That's how they meet the caste system. People who are darker and blacker are seen as less than. So I guess how else does like an indigenous woman, or any woman in general, you're already second class citizen for being a woman, get ahead in this like life? So I guess you had to marry a white man who got money, but he also decided to leave you and your kids when he meets another white woman that wants to marry him in Spain. So again, most of the people that did come to the New World were men. So you see like a few, I think you saw like maybe a few white women there. A couple that maybe were like maybe their sisters and or like moms that came with them. Because again, like I mean, so it's like in Spain, like they're all Spanish, and it's like, okay, like we can really say that they're like better than the other one, but like they're like, if you're a Spaniard, you know, from Spain, Latin America, like you're top dog. These indigenous people, these black people can't tell you shit. Like, they're your slaves, they're your workers. They cannot tell you shit. So I mean, I guess like it's why would you not want to go? But if you have the money to go, like why would you not want to go and be top dog? I mean, it's tempting, right? Like, I know, I get it. It's just like, I don't know why I had to be so racist with it. Like, we get it. You're better than us. We get it. We get it. No one told you love in your childhood. We get it. We get it. But I guess they must not have, though, because like you really had to abuse people. Like, Christopher Columbus is one sick motherfucker. Let me tell you guys. Like, it's just insane. Okay, I'm just gonna put highlighter over my face, honestly. Come on. Get off my bush. It's like too light. Maybe you guys go a little harder, guys. So yeah, I mean, again, it's just fascinating. It is just fascinating. Alright. Yeah, I just feel like I love how there's so many different versions of this. Like, so now we're talking about, like, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, how do indigenous people get ahead? Yeah, it's like, that's the question. Like, how do they get ahead if they're indigenous? Only way is to marry up to someone who's whiter. In a sense, remember to ala la raza. I know the shits. I know what's up. Cause I mean, it makes sense. Cause I feel like the same thing is kind of in African American culture. Like, people don't hate light skinned people. I don't say they hate them. I don't think that's a bad word. That's a bad way of phrasing it. They don't have disdain for light skinned people because they're light skinned and because they had like they were the house slaves. It's not because of that. It's because a lot of times these lighter skinned people were the product of the master raping a black woman, one of his slave women's. Fuck it. So what would happen is that when the master died, he would leave inheritance to all his children, including the ones that were slaves. Usually the people that, like, the children that were like half black, half white, and their dad was the white one. It's probably like the most common in that time. Like now it's totally opposite. Like you have a common pairing of white women with black men. But anyways, this is ghetto as hell, but we're just go with it. So I still look like a maiden. I'm still a maiden, you guys. Okay. But anyways, so basically the point is that these people with lighter skin were getting freed because when their old rapist father, slave master, died, they left it in their will that their children, whatever their names were, would be freed. So that lighter skin and that like less kinkier hair is associated with freedom for us. So I can understand some of the psychology of I believe it. I don't believe it. I understand it. Still not right though. Like neither are we. They're both wrong as hell. I'm just saying. But like I understand the psychology behind it. That's what I'm getting at. I feel like they be trying to like separate black people and like Latinx people, but like it's like very similar. Like I think too what's really interesting too that people don't talk about kind of like the kind of sociological aspect that is kind of similar for both Black and Latinx people that people talk about actually in school. Again, like that a common form of rebellion was infanticide. People would kill their children. More so when they were small, you know, like easier to control, but that was very real. People would kill their children. More so mothers because they didn't want their child to endure the hardship of slavery or I think so I mean a lot of people, again, most people in Latin America, like I believe at least like 90% of the population have passed away, so that's why they had to employ people from Africa to do the work. So they still weren't going to do it themselves. Like, you crazy? They're not going to do it themselves. Why am I doing this myself when I can just get a ship and get someone else to do it? Take some. So I'm gonna be like crying, so we're just gonna take some and put.
One, two, three, come on!
Oh, there it is. That's very crack brush. So I'm gonna just go ahead and go across this. I'm gonna use. I have to use this blue, I think. This big Moss Ross blue. Okay. Oh my god. It's like it just gets like messy. put on my lashes, and then I have to go put on some clothes. Well, I got my clothes put on already. Okay, easy part. You're in a rush? You think that can't? What's gonna go wrong, bitch? I don't give a fuck. This thing. Like I use. Llorona. Costume went well. I am beat. I am tired. But the party went well. No one really knew what I was, but I mean, we are in America, so what can I say? But yeah, I think the last part that I was reading up on La Llorona is it is kind of like a reflection of, like, you know, almost a reflection of cultural values, right? So in Latin America, there's a thing called machismo, that men are supposed to be sexually aggressive, emotionless, you know, and then there's a concept for women called Marianismo, which is like being like the Virgin Mary, being like very sacrificial and consider others before yourself. So when the story of La Llorona is told, it's definitely her vilified by the men because she is violating those ideals of Marianismo, right? But women empathize with her because she was left, and also again in the 1500s, 1600s, she cannot do anything for herself. Like, women have no rights. Women have no rights. So just remember that before you want to judge her, okay? Even though she probably isn't real. I think she's real. But she seems so dangerous because she is a woman who was willing to go against Marianismo and just was like. And also, too, I guess the part of it that hits men hard was because they're supposed to have a lot of pride in their families. Especially their children are boys, too. So her taking away male children from a husband is like a hit on his manhood. Just one interesting way to look at it, too. But I love this story. I think it's fascinating. I think most of it, both the womanly part of it and also, too, like the infant side of kind of that was being a real from a rebellion for indigenous and for black women who were enslaved. But let me guys know what you think down below. Let me know any other stories that you want me to cover from your country. I think we're going to go Native American next week because November is Native Heritage Month. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe every Monday for Makeup and Mythology Monday. That's it for today, and have a good day. Make good choices.